I want to say to you that we are so honored and so blessed to have partnered with the American Family Association in this endeavor. It wasn't until they came alongside us that we were able to bring Speechless to fruition. So I'm going to let you have a look at the first episode. It's about 20 minutes long. And I want you to think about something for a second. If you're like most of America, when you go home and turn on your TV, you have 100 channels. That's a lot of TV shows. So why do another one? Why do we need it? What was the purpose? And I'm going to tell you just this one thing. I have a favorite quote that I like to keep up in my office and think about sometimes. I've heard it this week. It's not original to me. It's the Edmund Burke quote that says, "All that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing." The purpose of this and the purpose of all of you being here is because good men are going to do something, and good women.
So, all under arrest for what? What law have we violated?
We hadn't done anything wrong. I was handcuffed and accompanied the other people into the paddy wagon.
Kept taking our pictures and fingerprints. I realized that we weren't getting out right away. 3 felonies? I just couldn't imagine, just for trying to share the gospel.
The idea that only special classes of people get special protection violates everything that this country is about.
Join me next week when we begin in-depth analysis of the cases across the country in communities large and small where people, just like you and me, are finding themselves in the crosshairs of an overzealous opponent. You can be heard. Don't be speechless.
I just have a few things I want to tell you about this series and about, I promised I would tell you how you are uniquely poised to make a difference, and I will do that. So the reason this show is necessary, 4 years ago I read David Limbaugh's book, Persecution. I don't know if you've read that book, but I recommend it. But I don't recommend that you read it when you're trying to go to sleep, because you're going to get so filled with frustration and righteous indignation, and you're going to want to do something, and you won't be able to sleep. I wasn't. So I put it together, and I said, somebody's got to do something. Somebody should do something about that. And I felt God saying to me, that's you. You have to do something about that. So I put it together as a show, and I was excited, and I took it, and I presented it, and I gave the cases, and nothing happened. And 2 years later, when the time was right, somebody was willing to listen, the American Family Association was willing to come alongside, and the show was born. So what does that mean when we went on the road? Well, let me tell you. Before this show ever saw its first air, before we ever gave a copy of it to the American Family Association, I was on the road in Philadelphia, and I got a call from my assistant. She said, the ACLU is looking for you. That's right. And I got a call, and it was a representative of the ACLU in New Jersey, and she said, we got a call that you're about to do a story about something that's happened in Ocean Grove. That was the story you saw previewed about the same-sex unions and the Camp Meeting Association being forced to use their property for that. And she said, we want to know what you're doing. And I said, well, this is what we're doing. And I told her, and I said, I'd love to talk to you. And I also love to talk to the person who called you. I'm going to be in New Jersey in 2 days. I've got cameras and a lot of tape. So can we talk? And she said, let me get back to you. And that was the last time I've talked to the ACLU. I'm wearing this bright orange today in case they're still looking for me. I want them to be able to find me. And I'm going to tell you something else, and I hope that in the spirit of Christian forgiveness that you will help me out with this. I know of what I speak because I am LeAnne. I'm a Reformed liberal. Thank you. Thank you. The first time I ever came to this city was January 1993, and I was here celebrating the first Clinton inauguration. I was here with a college group. I had my rapid response team button on, and I was everywhere I could be, and I was as happy as a clam. And then I grew up, and I had some kids, and I've learned a lot in that time, and I want to tell you that health care or no health care, liberalism is a 100% curable disease. when we started Speechless, we wanted this. We wanted people to watch that and go, there's no way that's real, and laugh and clap and get upset. And they did. And Betty will tell you about some of the people who contacted AFA. But what has happened in the last 12 weeks in this country is exactly what we were hoping for when we started Speechless. It's not because of Speechless. It's because the American people are seeing what's happening. And let me tell you something, coming from the left, where I used to live, they're terrified of you. They're terrified. And the reason is because they expected you to stay home, and they expected you to stay in your churches and talk about it and whine about it and then do nothing. But just like Edmund Burke said, that you guys have decided to do something, and they don't know what to do with you. And that's why they're scared. And that's good. That's all good. Because if you believe in democracy and you believe in the principles of this Constitution, then you believe that a fair debate is always good, no matter what side of it you're on. I heard someone say an eagle needs both left and right wings to fly. It's true. The right wing is smarter, but the left wing is necessary. In the 2000 presidential election, 34 million people who call themselves born-again Christians did not vote. That's 41%. It took 56 people to sign the Declaration of Independence. There are more than 56 people in this room right now. Can you imagine what 34 million people, just the ones who didn't vote, let alone the entire faith-based voting bloc, could do if we could just get ourselves on one page? Political correctness has taken the place for too long of speaking truth. You all are here, and I'm so impressed with you. I'm so impressed with you because I don't know where you're from or what it took to get here. It's not a great economy. It's not a real good time to travel and stay in a gorgeous hotel. But you're here, and you're here because you're not only willing to speak truth, but now you've decided you're going to speak truth to power. We're going to speak truth to power. And if there's any part of you or any part of anyone you know who has that Christianese disease called, well, somebody else will do it, or, well, I should be, I'm just going to be nice and I don't want to ruffle any feathers. Let me remind you that the Bible says that faith without works is dead. And I will also tell you that in the history of, in the Bible and in the history of America, we are constantly shown how Christians and how people of faith, not only Christians, put that faith into action. We feed the hungry. We clothe those who need clothing. We shelter the homeless. We nurse the sick. What is different about protecting and defending your religious rights, protecting and defending your ability to raise your children in a godly home, to teach them the values that you want to teach them and that were imparted to you? That is putting your faith into action in the same way that it would be if you were ladling soup in a soup kitchen. We're not about Democrats. We're not about Republicans. We're about Americans. We're about faith and Americans and preserving that. And the last thing I would say to you is I promised you I would tell you how you were going to be poised to change the culture. I call Janet Parshall is a fantastic, fantastic woman of faith and the best host I've ever worked with in 18 years of doing this. And I tell her, you're a culture warrior. And she is, but so are you. And that's how you are poised to change the culture. Because you have seen the Tea Party go across the country. And you've seen the town halls, and you've seen those little ladies in the back of the room that you didn't think would ever stand up, and they did. And they made it on CNN and Fox News, mostly Fox News. You are poised to change the culture in that way. Yourself, by the people you talk to, by the children you're raising. In all of those ways, you are poised to make that change, and you do it with your voice. So do not let them take that voice away from you. And I want to say the last thing that we always say at the end of Speechless. We say, remember, be heard, don't be speechless. Thank you so much, buddy.